Hey, Handyman Dan here with You Can Build This, and in this video we're going to be showing you how we replace the grout in our 4-year-old pathway with something easier, stronger, and water permeable. We'll be going over the step-by-step process on how to apply it, how long it took us to do this. We're also going to show you how this product does in the rain, how it does with pressure washing, and how it looks after 1 month. If you're looking to build your own pathway or patio or retrofit your existing one, you are going to love this project. What I also loved learning about this product is that it's freeze resistant, ant resistant, and weed resistant. All three of those things we've had problems with in our pathway before. The reason we're doing this project in the first place is because our garden pathway is only 4 years old, and the grout between our flagstone is already peeling, weathering away, and weeds are growing in it. To say I'm frustrated is an understatement because I did this with a product I thought would last a long time. Because we used flagstone, I couldn't use the typical polymeric sand that's only meant for joints that are like 1/8 inch to 3/4 of an inch. None of my joints are the same width and spacing, so I had to find something stronger. I used a type of polymeric sand that was specified for joints wider than 1/2 inch, which was perfect because with my flagstone, none of my joints were consistent, and a lot of our joints were at least 2 inches wide. It took me a long time to find this particular polymeric sand, and I was very excited when I found it. But when I got down to it, it was actually pretty hard to do. And there was such a small tolerance of the time it took me to put it down and work it before it set. After I installed it, I thought I did everything correctly, and it looked great that whole first summer. But then after the first winter, the problem started to show up. Even though my grout was only 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick, I think the top layer cured faster than the rest of it. So in only a couple years, that resulted in the top layer peeling up, and then the bottom layer was just gravel. It got me to the point where I didn't want to do flagstone ever again. But luckily, even though it started to peel up, because of the thickness of my grout being 1 inch to 1.5 inches, it still held all of the stones in place and level. So our pathway still maintained its integrity, but it looked really bad. We won't be covering the full build in this video because I built this pathway 4 years ago. But as a brief recap, we dug down 11 inches. We added 8 inches of compacted road base with another inch of sand on top of that. And then our flagstone was roughly 2 inches thick. I knew I needed to replace the grout on our flagstone pathway at some point, but I had seen this product over the last few months. Instead of being like a concrete material, it used sand and epoxy. And to add to it, I saw that it was water permeable. But there was one problem, it was only in Europe. But then towards the end of July, I saw an ad for this product and I saw that it was in the United States. It's a German engineered product in 3 different colors. It utilizes sand with each granule coated in epoxy, and to keep the epoxy from curing, it's coated with oil. So the working time is incredible. Now I've never used this product before, and this is only my 3rd time doing a flagstone pathway. So I'm by no means a professional installer of this stuff, but I feel competent enough to do it myself. From what I've been told, it's very easy to do, so we're gonna give it a try. So first we're gonna prep the area, which means, you guessed it, we have to take out all of the old polymeric sand. No. The main thing to remember with any flagstone pathway is that preparation is key. Preparation is going to be probably 90% of the work. So we made sure with our prep work that it was going to help us have a successful project. We made sure that all of our flagstone was level and not wobbly, and that the depth between all the rocks was the same, at about 1 inch to 1.5 inches depending on the thickness of the rock. So we're just going to use a screwdriver and a vacuum, and we're going to scrape it out and vacuum it up. It took us 4 hours to do it, from 6:30 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. and it worked pretty well. I ended up having to empty my vacuum about 4 times. We finally got the main pathway done, and I am so excited because it went pretty fast. I was concerned that it was going to take me all day long to do 100 square feet, and there were also a lot of weeds that we had to get rid of. I didn't want to risk trying to get all the weeds out by their roots because I didn't want to disturb the soil that was underneath our flagstone. We had to get our project done quickly. We thought about putting down some weed killer, and I didn't have a lot of time for the weed killer to work because it usually takes a day or two. And luckily I found this new tool called a weed torch. It's basically a torch that you attach to your propane tank, and it made getting rid of those weeds so much faster. And it was pretty fun. Oh gosh. It seemed like the easiest way to get rid of them quickly because it would burn all the roots and it wouldn't disturb the soil.
I have made fire! I have made fire!
After you're done with your prep work, this is how your pathway should look. You want to make sure that all of your rock edges are exposed and you've got the same depth of joint around each rock. This way you ensure the maximum amount of adhesion for each rock. The tool list to apply this product is very easy. You can pick up this set of tools for roughly 150 bucks. It came with 2 big squeegees, a smaller squeegee, a coarse push broom, a fine thread push broom, and then a little handheld fine thread broom. Make sure to wear gloves when you apply this product because it will stick to your hands. Before we get to the install portion of our project, make sure to go to our description where we have a link to sign up for our free weekly email. This is where we share even more tips, tricks, and builds with you to help save you money. When I first did my calculations, I only planned on this pathway. I didn't plan on the back corner. When I went to go order it, I actually added another bucket. Originally, I was only going to buy 5 buckets, but I ended up buying a 6th one, which I didn't end up using. Since our pathway is 20 feet long, it was really easy to start on one end and work towards the other. First, we're going to lightly mist and dampen these rocks. You don't want to pour this product onto any dry material. The install could not have been easier. Because we had done so much work with our preparation, the install flew by. With polymeric sand, I felt like I had to be really careful and only pour the product in between the rocks. But with this product, I was able to just pour it out onto the rocks and then use my push broom and brush it into all the grooves. There was no mixing, there was no adding color, and cleanup was so easy and fast. You only want to do about 1 bucket at a time. I'm not sure how far this will go, so I'm just gonna dump it all out in this small region. You're gonna use the coarse broom to move and push the material. And it says to brush it in diagonally into your joints. You wanna make sure to go perpendicular to the grooves. You don't wanna go straight on. Going perpendicular will help the product stay flat between the rocks. So far, this is super easy to do. There's a little bit of resistance, which is good. I'm glad it's not just like sand where you can't really tell how much of the product you're moving. Just moving it back and forth gently. Some of these edges I'll have to come back and get later with a little trowel squeegee. Okay, so I've got most of it covered. Now I'm gonna go back, just do a clean sweep, pick up all the excess material. This moves really, really easy. I'm just gonna wet this area. It went a little further than I thought. Unlike the polymeric sand, where I felt like I only had like 30 minutes to work this stuff before it started to set, I was not stressed at all about putting the Romex down because I had a few hours to work it and make sure it was how I liked it. We did it in the morning though to make sure that we weren't gonna get cooked by the sun. I really felt like I could go at my own pace and make sure that it looked good. I was really so impressed with how fast the product went down with minimal effort. I just had to make sure that I wasn't standing on the sides of the rocks to get them all loose, but pushing it around with a broom was pretty easy. If you do need to take a 15-minute break, you wanna make sure to put your tools into water so that the product doesn't dry on your tools. To do this whole pathway plus this extension over here, which was about 100 square feet, we used 4.5 tubs. Now that we finished up here with our pathway, I'm going to go to where we started and I'm going to use this finer haired brush and I'm going to sweep off all of the excess that's on these rocks. So far, I am incredibly impressed with this product because it is so easy to put down. I remember just being so stressed when I was doing the polymeric sand. Was I doing it right? Is it going to turn out good? What if I get material on top of the rocks? Unnecessary stress in my opinion. With this stuff, I can just really just brush it on. It is just so easy. It moves incredibly smooth. The material even went farther than I had expected, but it looks like it's filling in the joints really, really nicely. I don't feel like there's any divots or anything, but overall, for a first timer and a homeowner and a DIY person, this product is incredible. So glad that I found it. I loved using this little detailer squeegee tool to help level the material between the rocks and to go up next to my house. Looks like some of the bristles are kind of coming off of the broom, which I think is okay. Once you have it where you like it, you let it set and then the oil will evaporate and then the epoxy will start to cure and it hardens like concrete. It's now 1 o'clock, which means 4 hours have passed. It's overcast and it looks like it's starting to set up. What's also nice about this product is that it says you can apply it in a light drizzle. If the rain is coming down enough that it will wash it away, then you need to cover it up. It's starting to rain. Now it's not raining a lot. It's kind of a slight drizzle, but it's big droplets. Now for the most part, it feels firm. There are some spots where like it was raised up a little bit that I can still depress, but overall it still feels really firm. This kind of shows you how much it's raining. It's a very light drizzle, but it's enough to get the rocks wet. Hey, it's morning number 2, and it's almost been 24 hours since we last put down the Romex Easy. Let's check it out. All right, it's looking awesome. I feel comfortable to walk on our pathway after 24 hours. So far, so good. Pretty pleased with it. It is very firm to the touch. I don't think it's fully cured because I can still push down on a few spots. This is how hard it sounds. Here's the rock. Here's the Romex. And after the fact, I noticed that there were little granules of sand left over on top of the rocks, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I've been able to get my leaf blower and just blow off all the excess sand. There is some surface here that I don't think is kind of depressed very well, but over time it will go down and become flat. And there's no residue. My rocks don't seem shiny or sticky or have any kind of film on it. This is awesome. Standing on the joints here, it's not depressing at all. This is fantastic. In my opinion, the coolest thing about this product is that it's water permeable. You can pour water on it and within seconds, it goes away. For any DIY person, we like to have products that work the first time with a larger margin of error and something that we can do with little to no experience. As I mentioned before, this product is coated with foil to help it be more moldable, but the product doesn't have any VOCs. It did have an odor to it, but it wasn't super unpleasant, and it went away between 5 to 7 days.
Here you can see we've got probably an inch worth of water that's fallen.
Yes, we have drainage problems, but besides that, check out the pathway.
There's no cooling on any of the Romex grout.
I used a 2200 PSI pressure washer, and I tried to hold it pretty close at some points just to test how this product held up. And I am very pleased with how it performed. I didn't want to test to see how close I could get. I put it at a reasonable height to where I felt like it would clean the rocks. I could not have been more impressed with how easy this project was for a DIY person. Between two people, we spent 6 hours each. Overall, our project costs were about $350 for the Romex Easy, another $150 for the tool set, and then another $50 for the weed torch. Last year we doubled the size of our garden, but not our pathway. This has definitely made me want to add more flagstone pathway to the rest of our garden. And when I do that, I'll still have my tools, so I will only need to buy the Romex Easy. Overall, would I recommend this product? 100% yes. I have been so impressed with how easy it was to install and how it's holding up so far. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.